Hey, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jay.
Welcome to this week's Arguably Correct.
Today we're talking about musical tastes.
La 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 la. Is that your taste?
Being off key. No,
Off key. You don't even know what key that was. I can't be off something you don't even know.
I didn't look. Drummers never know keys.
They have one around their neck all the time, right?
Right? It's the only key I need.
I've been curious about this subject for a long time. I'm really, obviously, we both played music. I say obviously a lot, but people may not know this. Jay and I were both in a band together at one time.
Yay.
Jay's still in a band.
And then you left.
I retired.
You retired.
I got really tired. Anyway, so
it is tiring.
It is tiring. Dealing with the bullshit is more. Anyway,
I still play in band, and I was like, oh, one's not enough.
Let's
be in two like a dummy. Yeah.
So we both love music.
Yes.
I think music was mine, but I mean, in some form, is still my passion. As a listener and consumer. Yeah, and it's hard for me to understand that other people don't see music the same way I do.
I knew someone once, and I kind of still know him, but he actually said and believed his mantra was that music is for the weak-minded, and that blew me away.
Really?
Yes. Wow, I don't understand.
That would be a whole different episode, but I can kind of see what maybe he's shooting at, but I'd have to build on that a little bit. But
no, trust me, you don't want to defend this guy.
No. Well, I mean, defend the point. I don't defend the man.
Well, it's a bad point.
Is it?
Yeah. It's creative. It makes you think. It opens up, it's you're listening to someone else's creative expression.
It's like reading a book.
Yes. So that's like saying books are for the weak-minded. Like what? I don't understand. Or art is for the weak-minded. No, this is you exploring the world you live in and different thoughts and feelings and whatever else. For the weak-minded. Why don't you go sit down and watch some more Fox News? He watched a lot of Fox News. Okay. But he watched a lot of Fox News. So I'm like, oh, okay, music's for the weak-minded, but you're watching 8 hours of Fox News a day.
Well, first of all, who watches news? Anyway,
he does.
Yeah. Ick.
A lot.
Ick. I don't care which side of the fence on news. Ick.
Which automatically was like, okay, I'm not going to defend myself because...
I mean, it's pretty bad when the weatherman can say more truths than anybody else can on the damn news anymore. The weatherman's more accurate.
We did this episode.
Well, I digress. But, here's I with the advent of streaming music...
Yeah.
I mean...
You mean... Never mind.
The
profit loss.
Yeah, the amount of available music out there is just monumental. It's you cannot absorb it all. There's just no way.
No.
There's not enough time in your lifetime to be able to absorb the catalog that exists today.
Correct.
There's just not. And so you have all this material at your
trying to read all the books ever written.
Absolutely,
you can't.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
So with all this being available, I love exploring new music. I'm not really I like top 40 music, don't get me wrong, but I want something that I've never heard before. I want a sound that I've never heard before. I want to experience something new, right? And so I try to find new bands, and it seems that I try really hard to find things I love, but it's probably one out of 1,000 probably do I really latch on to and stick with and put them in my back pocket and say, okay, this is a group.
Because you're old.
And because I'm old, and it kind of led me man, when did that happen? When did that window?
No idea.
When did that window of our lives, as human beings, open up to allow us to absorb this particular art, be it music, and formulate our our preferences?
Yeah.
Right?
I think I have at least my take on it.
I'm curious what your take. I do have some research that's been done by some studies, and I'm curious what.
And I showed up today with zero research.
Okay. What your anecdotal feeling is, because I had some feelings before I'd done this research, and actually my feelings are right in line with the research, which I found was very interesting.
Well, good. Maybe I can be wrong. So, what I think is that music tends to draw you back to a particular place and time. So
it's a song by Annika, by the way.
Yeah. It
that was a plug.
It is a song by Annika, which is a fantastic band that Jeff was in.
It'll be on Spotify soon. That's only 10 years.
Will it be?
I'm going to put it up, yeah.
Oh, nice. Good. Yeah. Good. I've got a box of CDs. No, okay. I do have a box of CDs, though. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. My train of thought derailed. Oh, yeah. So a song will take you back to a moment. So I can listen to a song that I listened to, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and I'm right back. I associate that song with a moment in life. And I think what happens is that when you're younger and you're exploring things and you're experiencing new, things for the first time, and that music is playing, that soundtrack is on, when you hear that song 20 years later, it brings you back to that feeling in that moment. So to sum it up, I think that as you get older and you get more jaded and people get knocked down with the 9-to-5s and worrying about bills and mortgages and kids and college and, the things that you're not really having a lot of fun anymore. You're not enjoying yourself as much. You're more focused on the things in your life that are taking precedence.
I mean, so what age are you talking at? Define an age to your bracket.
I would say between 15 and 25.
Wow, that's a big bracket.
Well, but I think that's when you're also doing the most learning. You're doing the most things for the first time, and I think after that, the normal people tend to begin, getting more serious and, college is over and you're getting your career and you're getting your family. So you're saying it's
experience related. But you think life was that great at 15 that
no.
Go back
I'm saying that all I'm saying is that those songs stick with you, and I believe it's a proven fact that they form neurological pathways in your
songs do, yes.
brain,
yes,
that will give you that moment again, that will give you that feeling again.
Yes, I see what you mean. Yes.
So I think by playing music for as long as I have and still doing it today, like, not that I don't have mortgage or issues or all the stress of everything else, I still go out and have a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And, nothing like a road trip with the band and going to a show.
Lots of people still have fun as adults and just as much as they did as teenagers. Why not? I mean, I get where you're going, but
maybe, I don't know. If from my experience of people that I meet that are my age, I don't relate to them very well. I'm still
it's because you're 12.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still childish. I'm still having fun. I'm still hopping in a van and going out and doing dumb shit. Yeah. And I'll, get too high at a rest stop on the way to a show and forget how to use self-checkout and have a family look at my mohawk stupid ass not knowing how to do it, and then I'll just give up and walk out without anything. And that actually happened. I seriously walked up to a checkout, forgot how to use it, just sort of blanked out, and I'm sitting there with tons of snacks. Like, I'm ready to go. We have 4 hours left to the drive. And I just bailed out. I just saw the judgment. I was like, I got to get out of here. But then I get in the van and our Bandit song is playing, and that will always stick in my head is that time I was a fucking moron at some random truck stop in front of some random nice family that didn't need to see me.
But your music was already set. You already liked our Bandits. You didn't like our Bandits because you were having fun in that moment, and then you liked that band because it was a fun day.
But that's how it was before. You always like your band, and then you play them while you're out having fun, and then years later you look back, and that's it. You're never putting in a cassette for the first time while you're out with your friends, joyriding or whatever in a car, like your first time smoking pot or whatever. You're not listening to something brand new usually. You're usually listening to your soundtrack you've already liked when you were a kid. So I've found that most of the bands I get associated with now are bands that we play with. Like, I get really in...
You mean personally?
Yeah.
Like, associate with them as individuals?
No, their music.
Or the music, okay.
Yeah. The majority of new music I listen to are with bands that we've played shows with.
It may be unfair that we're kind of outliers in some respects because we did play music. We are, in that realm of the world, right?
Jesus, yes. Yeah, we did. Thanks.
Did, whatever.
It's fine.
But your core musical preference has been pretty set for a long time, in my opinion. Man, at least for so long as I've known you.
Mine went straight to punk rock. And that is
and when did you find punk rock?
Wow. Like, what age?
Yeah, generally.
I'm going to say somewhere around 16 or 17.
You're pretty close to the average here that the statistics show, too.
Oh, great. I'm a statistic. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Adult musical preferences get set at about, for men, the peak is age 14.
Okay, but again, that's my, I guess, it's tough for me to say that's my musical preference. It is my main one.
Correct, and that's the argument here.
Okay, good.
Because
I have many.
Sure, you have many, but that's the big one, right? That's the top one. That's the one you associate. Probably, if you had to be on a desert island somewhere and you only had one choice of music that you could be with, it's going to be this.
Nope, I'm going to shoot myself for
then there's
one
that.
choice of music.
You understand my point, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be your go-to. And it was interesting that both in males and females, the study found that
Wait, they're different?
They are slightly.
Thought they were all the exact same.
Oh,
What
do you mean all the exact same?
Everybody's the same. We're all equal in every aspect.
I'm not sure if you're being
possible.
facetious.
Very much so.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying that you're not being politically correct right now by saying that people are
I
different.
know I'm being arguably correct.
Well played, well played.
So the study shows that basically females have a very, if you're looking at kind of a bell curve, it's a very sharp up curve towards early adolescence into age 13. That's when their influences get solidified. And then they have a more gradual decline of acceptance of new music and changing their preference. Where males are very more of a V instead of a bell curve. It's more V. It's very very straight up and then almost straight back down.
Wait, like they like something and then they don't like it all the time?
It's not that they don't like it. It's like their
they
openness.
fall out of it.
Yeah, their openness to be.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Change their preference, right?
Yep,
Their
I
preference
gotcha.
is pretty set around that.
So men are close-minded and stupid, and women are open-minded.
There is some association. We'll get to some
that
associations later.
That statement makes total sense to me. It's very, very true.
So I thought that was weird, and I think back, like, when did my musical taste really solidify? And I
Has
would say,
it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's definitely a go-to genre, rock, right? And I mean, I love other things. I love country. I love all sorts of music, but I probably would gravitate.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. What?
Nothing. No. Now that you know, I admit I agree with your statement. I just don't like country music, so I said bullshit to it. Sorry.
That's okay. So in this research, one of the things I looked up is, does your personality type have any kind of relevance to the type of music? Right?
I would think that would be a definite yes.
And so the strangest one that stuck out to me was neuroticism. Right, and and according to this neuroticism,
according to this, I'm neurotic.
No.
Okay, good.
The more neurotic a person is, the less likely they are to listen to intense, rebellious music, such as alternative rock or heavy metal.
Okay.
They'll likely prefer upbeat, conventional music, such as country, soundtracks, and pop music. Additionally, neuroticism is positively correlated with the emotional use of music. Those who scored high in neuroticism were more likely to report the use of music for emotional regulation and experience higher intensity of emotional affect, especially negative emotion.
What?
I was kind of like, that's what they found out in this study, and I thought that was really kind of odd. I shouldn't say I didn't expect it, but it does kind of fit a stereotype with like country music and things like that. You think about it, if you play a country music record backwards, you get your house back, you get your wife back, you get your car back. So it's, there's a lot of negative connotation to true country music, not this pop country today, because that's more pop music. It's not country music.
I would like to preface this because we're going to say a lot of things.
And this is just based on, a couple surveys or studies that we've looked at.
But for me, it's important to say that even though I don't like a particular genre of music, meaning I don't listen to it repeatedly, it does not mean I don't respect it.
It's because you didn't listen to it at age 14.
It's because I don't like hearing about whatever they're singing about, or I don't like whatever it is it's going. But I'm just saying.
Well, that kind of goes to your personality type, right?
But before we got to that, I was just trying to say I'm not discounting the people who play it.
No, absolutely.
Being a musician is difficult.
Yep.
It's hard enough. So when I say things like I don't like country music, it doesn't mean that I think no one should listen to it.
I think this is the only time I've ever heard you in a podcast like worry about how somebody took your opinion in this.
It's
this is interesting.
Yeah, I know.
It's a spot for you.
It's important to me. I would never want to degrade another person who's playing music.
Who's being an artist.
Yes. So even though I'm going to say things that probably sound mean,
right?
I don't.
And we're talking about the genre, the style, not necessarily the individual who produces said genre or style.
But it just means I don't prefer it.
Sure.
But so even though I'm going to come across as crass like I normally am, I want to make it clear that I don't. It doesn't. It's not a knock on the people playing it. I respect them as musicians, even if I don't like the music that someone is playing. If they're playing it well, even if they're just learning or whatever. I just didn't want to sound like I'm out here knocking people who are.
I don't think that
doing.
Yeah,
the
same
work.
here. We're not.
So Yeah, I fucking hate country music, but I respect anyone who plays it.
Sure.
So that's
anybody
all I'm
plays
saying.
any music for that matter.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Be it plays it well or doesn't play it well.
Normally I'm not apologetic about things, but I didn't want to sound like I was
so
knocking
vulnerable right
musicians.
now. Do you want to listen to some country music?
No. Not usually. Not usually. There's been one or two country songs I think in my life that I listened to and I thought, wow, those aren't terrible. That was about as high as I got with it.
I enjoy country music.
That's fine.
Not all of it. And some of it, if I think back to the country music that I really like.
You mean like outlaw country, like Johnny Cash country?
So
I like that.
I'm going to go back to the age group again, or the age that I was when I heard this style of music, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I heard that kind of music, in my parents' vehicle, they kind of listened to that. And
sure.
It was the
grew up
80s
in
country. Ohio?
Oh, I thought it was Missouri.
Well, I moved here when I was 13, so
you grew up in Missouri.
I guess. Yeah. I think I did more growing between 13 and 20 than I did between 0 and 13.
Those roots you get instilled at you between 0 and 13. And you're a country bumpkin.
I can tell you the musical influence before that, I don't really recall. The only thing I can really recall from that point in my life is slight pop music because I had sisters and they'd listen, one of my sisters in particular listened to kind of pop music, the Bangles and some rock stuff. And so I kind of remember that, but it didn't really influence me.
Okay.
My influence was right around the age of 13 actually, and was the first time somebody played Metallica for me.
Okay.
And I think I've told this story before on the podcast, but
you did.
Played the
told
song.
I don't know if it made it to air or not, but you told it.
Yeah, it's the kid put in a tape and played the song. I remember it very clearly, and it kind of solidified my appreciation for rock music.
What the fuck is this?
More or less, absolutely. Like, what is this?
Do you listen to it today and go back to that moment?
Maybe I recognize that's when it happened. I can tell you. I remember where I was. I remember who I was with when that happened. And that's one of the things that this survey kind of pointed to, that's other people's experience too. Like at that age group, people can have a real strong memory tied to that event of when they kind of found that aha moment of music and when it really, turned them on from whatever reason. And it was just, I found that very fascinating. And that was my experience too, because I do struggle today. I want to know more music, but it's harder and harder to try to change out of my comfort zone.
For me, it's harder to find things that I consider to be music.
To be music?
The pop stuff, like the top 40 stuff, the auto-tune stuff, the overdubbing, I can't get into it. Now, again, when I play with, a new band, then I'm like, okay, cool. Well, they're playing their own instruments and I like what they're doing. And then I get the CD and I listen to it, and I'm loving it. So,
well, and I think some
you're shuffling papers over like Rush Limbaugh. And your formerly nicotine-stained fingers. Nicotine-stained fingers.
Man, I haven't listened to that dude in forever.
Good.
And I think it has. I think the reason that is, at least according to this study,
to these doctors,
according to the study, is because of your personality type, right? You're
what's my personality type?
I'd say I'm
a Virgo.
I'd say you're kind of an extrovert.
I'm shy as could be, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a second, I thought, really? You're in that much denial?
No.
We have a whole other podcast we can talk about.
Definitely an extrovert.
We're going to get a counselor in here.
Yes, I will talk to just about anybody. Yeah.
And so that kind of leads you into liking music like classical jazz, intense rebellious music like punk rock and all those things like that, right? That's their correlation here.
Is that the correlation?
Yeah.
To that study?
Yeah.
That is
absolutely
more accurate than any astronomical thing I've ever heard about me
when
in
I
my
read that,
entire
when I read that,
life.
You're going to be like, hey, the hell with astrology. Let's just, give me your CD collection and I can tell your future.
According to that, because you're right. That is on the mark.
Yeah, complex genres. And it's funny, too, how they talk about, like, that type of personality doesn't like to repeat music over and over again. There's certain periods. It's like, so when you hear a song that you like, you don't necessarily put it on repeat. It's really novel for you at first, but then later on, there's kind of a nostalgia that comes through, and then you'll do that. So you'll be like, at first, you'll listen to it, and then you'll go through a period of just, listen to it normally, and then there'll come another period where you'll intensely listen to it again over and over and over again because you want something novel, you want something new all the time.
I would
you
say
want to be stimulated again.
That's I'm gonna leave that one go. Yeah. Who doesn't want to be stimulated, you know? But yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. What does it say about you?
Well, I mean, I guess you'd have to qualify my personality type to say if it fits. I mean,
I'm not in any position.
I'm a you. I'm an extrovert.
Yeah, you're an extrovert for sure. Do you fall in the same? Do you read into that as much as I just did? Because that is pretty much spot on for me.
It is, but you know, one of the things that I thought was interesting is I like country. I like that feeling, and I thought, well, as much this doesn't really apply to me all the time, and it kind of gives a caveat to that. Like, you know, you can have a variation to that preference based on time of year, holidays, things like that.
Absolutely.
And
your
mood and
Yeah.
self-view at that time. I had a conversation with somebody about music that they had heard this song over and over and over again, you know, had just kind of mindlessly went past it. Yeah, it was a good song, whatever, didn't stand out to them.
Yeah.
Until something in their life changed, and then all of a sudden, that song that they'd listened to
Countless
time and time
times.
again meant something now, for whatever reason. And the meaning was always there.
Yeah, the
right?
pathway got placed.
Yeah.
The neurons fired
something
where it was
connected.
like, hey, we're keeping this now. Yeah, this means something now.
And I always find that interesting with music, especially being in music and making music myself. And that I thought was fascinating is, you know, I've wrote, you know, a fair share of songs that I've put out there, and you know, yeah,
sorry,
reject, yeah, that's what you're going for, right? Reject. Anyway, yeah, I wrote that, and it means something else than it means to me. Like,
well, that's when it gets.
That's what's weird about it. It's like, and I had to realize that you know, people see these works of art. It's like you can go up to a painting and say, "Oh my gosh, that person looks like they're happy," but really the artist's like, no, that they just lost a child, or you know, something very significant.
Yeah.
And that's what he's trying to portray. But because that person's in a different mood, in a different state of mind, they're going to interpret that art the way they want to. It's their eyes, their perception. Same thing with music.
It was said best, and again, I'm a fan, but Matt Embry from Our Expandits said it best. When someone asked him what a song that they wrote is, or you know, what's that song about? He doesn't tell anybody.
No,
he doesn't want to put the meaning out there. It doesn't.
He'd rather it mean something to them.
It's not even that he'd rather it; it's that it's going to.
It's true.
So it doesn't matter what you wrote a song about. No matter what you put out there, someone else is going to take in their own personal. Well, that's the goal anyway. You hope that they do, and whatever they take out of it, you don't want to, you know, have them as Matt Embry, you know, in a well-known band. Then they see that and they're like, "Oh, I guess I got it wrong." Well, no, you didn't. It's whatever you took out of it. It's whatever you made it. So once you put that song out there and it's out for everybody to hear,
On the ether.
yeah, then it's whatever
Has a life of its own.
It's whatever it means to them.
Absolutely.
And whatever you wrote it about, whatever place you were in, that's for you. And you made that music, you know, to express that out of you, to get whatever it was out. And after that, doesn't matter.
You know, and again, we've experienced music. We've, you know, made and wrote and performed music for people. So we have a different viewpoint than somebody who has never been in that position, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the interesting things, too, is, you know, to that degree, is you have your own meaning and people are going to internalize it one other way. But sometimes...
Which is good.
Yeah, and sometimes there's certain songs that are so powerful to the individual who wrote them that they don't even want to perform them anymore, because every time you perform that song, you relive that, whatever that be, you know, that feeling, right? And, you know, I could even go back to the albums that, you know, the bands that I've been in and really listen. I can tell you, like, what was going on, what all this in, like, reality.
Should we go down that road? What's worse? How about the songs that you've written that you haven't showed anybody?
I burn them.
How many? Dude, I have two.
Yeah, I totally burn them.
But how about I still have some, but like the ones that you're just like, I don't ever want to write this because I don't ever want to have to play this. I don't want to go through it. It's probably a good song. It probably could be if it got, you know,
to somebody, right?
Yeah. Well, even you know when you write a good song, when you write a shit song, you know when you're like,
dude, I wrote a shit song and everybody loves it. It's called Friends.
Dude,
and everybody loves that damn song.
We got so goddamn sick of that song.
It's a shit song. It really is a shit fucking song.
It really isn't. It's really a good song. I think it's a shit song to us because we had to play it so many fucking times.
I guess so, but it's just really not that good of a song.
It really is, though.
It's fucking pop. It's pop. It's as much pop as pop.
It has good meaning.
Well, truthfully, it is the only positive song I've ever written.
Well, there you go.
And that is
holy shit! I just now realized how depressed you were.
Yeah.
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 Here
clinically.
20 years later, and I just now got it. Sorry, buddy.
Is that sarcasm?
No, because that was the only.
The song
happy...
was fucking Reject. I mean, literally, I wrote a song called Reject.
I got that. I just never realized that was the only happy song.
Literally, is the only happy song I've ever wrote. Yeah.
Okay.
The funny thing is when I'm going through those things, I can be pretty prolific. I can write about that kind of stuff. I really know how to express myself. We kind of talked about it in the emotional cutting kind of situation we talked about off air. But
it's off air.
It's okay. I'm okay with it.
Didn't happen.
when I've experienced that time of emotional cutting, that's one of the things is when I'm sad or feeling depressed or one of those kind of scenarios. My ability to express myself is a lot higher.
Same.
I'm able to do that. But when I'm happy and everything's good, it's just kind of I don't. My level of creativity is zilch, zero.
You don't want to write anything at that point. You just want to go out and have a good time because you're
everything's
in a
fine.
good place. Yeah.
Yeah, and which is kind of sucky. Yeah. And Aaron Lewis from The Stain, not The Stain. Sorry, somebody. But anyway, Stain.
Somebody from Stained.
The Stain. It's a whole thing. Look it up.
It's
in
a
court
really?
record. Well, yeah. Stain got sued by. Yeah, all this.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. Okay,
so,
never mind. Yep.
Anyway, Aaron Lewis from The Stain. God, I did it again. Stain.
Contact our lawyers at fuck you.
He had an article, and why don't you perform with Stain anymore, and yada yada. He's like, because he does country and some other, less dramatic stuff because his songs are pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not sad. I'm happy. My life's great. I got a wife, kids. I'm just not in that place anymore. So that music doesn't really resonate with me anymore.
Which, he's just being honest.
But think about some of those artists that have been playing the same damn shit for 40 years. and some of it's, pretty powerful stuff. I mean, we watched Katy Perry, and we both had a very visceral reaction to watching her perform that song, Jar of Hearts. Did I get the name wrong?
What?
Jar of Hearts?
Yeah, Jar of Hearts. Is that Katy Perry?
Yeah.
Okay. It took me a second. I went to...
You're looking at me, I'm like, thinking, shit, did I just screw that up?
I think you did do it right. I went to somebody else.
Okay.
I don't know who it was.
Well, stop cheating on her.
I went to some pop star for a second, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, that Jar of Hearts song is fucking amazing.
And again, we talked...
Not the recorded album version. The Ocean Studios version, when she was in Ocean Studios. Fucking mind-blowing song. Gives me goosebumps almost every time. And
that's just it, right? You can feel the emotion from the artist coming out in that performance. And imagine what that feels like to that person. And to jump on the next thing is the Kurt Cobain eye flash.
Oh,
right. So if anybody that hasn't experienced this, Jay pointed it out to me, and I guess I'd overlooked it, but it's definitely there. I
saw that the first time I ever watched Nirvana Unplugged, and it
in the
stuck
Pines
with me.
Yeah. So you see Kurt Cobain just kind of look off, get the 1,000-yard stare, and
he's somewhere else. He's in a different existence.
The eyes are looking out, but they're not. They're looking.
We'll have to clip the video on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that stare, if you don't understand what it's like to play music and to feel something, and that wasn't even his song.
No, correct.
That was a cover.
He made it his. He was feeling it. Yeah.
We
kind of went off the rail on musical preference, but
when you talk about music, I can't help but go off rails.
When did that come out? Right? I mean, that was in the age of our formative years,
like 94 or 96, something like that.
So it would have put you around that age, 14, 15.
No,
somewhere in there, right?
94.
Yeah, I'm not good with your math. Let's see.
I was 18 in 94.
No shit. God, you're
born
old.
in 1976.
I forget how much older you are. I mean,
how old are you?
40.
I'm only 2 years older,
right?
To me, it sounds like a big deal.
It's like crazy. You could almost drink when I was graduating high school. Thanks for the beer, by the way.
I drank long before you graduated from high school, good sir.
I didn't do that stuff. I waited till I was 21.
We were German. We drank young.
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
You drink.
I use it as an excuse, though.
Is their name Young, or is that the kind of beer?
Nice.
But so anyway, and all that research kind of go back to that point is it really focused in and said that early teenage, and it really related to puberty with the individual. That was your formative years of getting a solid foundation in what music you like. And they kind of in this article they joked around like, hey, you know, Valentine's Day is coming up, and if you think about it, what's the best song that you could probably play on Valentine's Day? Well, think back what songs were popular when your significant other was around that age, and they kind of gave some examples. And I thought, you know, that's pretty interesting because I'm experiencing this right now in my life. Nostalgia is really becoming a thing for me
because we're old.
But when did that happen? Like, okay, so I didn't feel nostalgia in my mid-20s. I didn't really feel it.
You didn't?
Not the way I do right now. Not the way I do right now at all.
I did.
So think like when I'm 27 and I heard a song from 1997, it wasn't as visceral to me as it is today. Like a song from 1997 now being, you know, 2019.
For me, if you put a 2 or 3 year gap into something that was a great experience or a great time, and I have a song associated with it, I have that nostalgia within that year or two. There are 2 or 3 years.
So think about this though. It's interesting. When we were kids, we were playing music and liked music that was
Back
20
when
years.
Horses were
in our age, our teens, we were playing music that was popular 20 years before us.
What?
Like a lot of the people in our were popular, like loved Led Zeppelin and all that stuff, but we weren't even around when that shit was even created. We weren't even born yet.
Yeah.
Right. But in our group of friends, we all love Zeppelin. You love Pink Floyd and all that stuff, right?
Love all that. Yeah.
That was 20 years old at that time.
But
right?
I believe that we grew up on that.
But we didn't.
I did. I grew up. I had.
Oh, you mean because your parents playing it? Mine didn't, and
my mother. Fantastic violinist.
Yeah.
My father.
No, I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Second chair Toledo Symphony.
No kidding.
Phenomenal violin
did not
player.
know that.
Yeah. Yep.
It's one instrument I'd really like to try to play.
Nope.
You don't want? Okay, I won't.
No, you can.
All
I'm just telling you, it's rough. No, go for it.
No,
go for it, son.
It looks hard as hell.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I caught the classical bug from her, and you know, father drummer.
Oh, father.
And I caught.
Father,
I said mother, so I figured father. So mom was the classically trained, you know, violinist, and my dad was a drummer in a rock band, and I grew up listening to everything from, you know, Beethoven and Mozart and Tchaikovsky, and then over here I've got, you know, the Beatles and Pink Floyd and the Rolling Stones, and I sort of had it all chucked at me at once.
And neither one of those two things is your core preference.
No. And then actually, to go to that core preference, then later on in life, my older brother introduces me to, you know, the hair bands, the Metallicas, and then the Scorpions and Poison and Warren, and I mean, you can't be ashamed of where you came from. I loved those bands back when I was younger.
Oh man,
loved them. But then those were all the things that were shown to me.
But see, this is funny because that's just a slightly different time period, and now I don't have that same feeling towards those bands as you do.
Well, but maybe they weren't shown to you at the same time.
Okay, maybe.
By someone of influence like
my
a big brother.
My brother was 5 years older than me.
Yeah, so my brother 4 years, yeah.
So, but he, given the difference in ages of us, slightly different on a skew here, right? 2 years. It was more Def Leppard. What was the other one? Oh man, I'm blanking out. Right, Iron Maiden, things like that. You know, those are the things that I heard that he was listening to that did influence me back in that area. I didn't really understand, and truthfully, I didn't understand that music then. Didn't get it at all.
Well, you're too young to understand much.
I didn't understand it until later, right? But the things I listened to when I moved here to Ohio and started hanging with you guys when I was about 15.
It's pronounced Ahia.
Ahia.
Jesus.
So, you know, all that group of music that I really liked, you know, was influenced by, you know, what you guys showed me, a lot of the punk rock stuff. Yeah. But it was at the later part of that kind of came in, so I was less probably attracted to it.
So you're saying we ruined you?
Yeah, you ruined. Okay. You broke.
You're welcome. But that's the thing is that, so I had, you know, the mom showed me one thing, the dad showed me the other.
Yeah.
My older brother showed me something different, and they all still stuck with me. I still listen to all that stuff,
right.
And I listen to it on the regular. You know, yes, for anybody who asks, even the Poison and Warren, I still, if I hear it come on, I will sing along every time. Guns N' Roses, all that. He got me into Metallica, all those things. But it was, I think, for me, I found No Effects. I heard They Suck Live, that album.
Mm-hmm.
I found that by myself. I found that with my friends. That wasn't something that a family member had instilled upon me. Mm-hmm. That was just something that happened to me through my course. And once I found that, the rabbit hole opened and it was game over. And I've pretty much been stuck there. I still love everything else, but that was it for me.
And see, that was one of the interesting things when I started playing music, is I really didn't have, again, Metallica was probably all that was solid underfoot at that time, because I believe I was 15 when I picked up my first guitar, and maybe 14, 15, yeah. And when I started hanging out with the people that we were in a band with, that music, actually, the music we made together was really my formative music. So it wasn't necessarily was the outside world so much as it was, when we would hang out at the coffee house, the music that we picked up there all that time, that was my formative music years. And I didn't when you play guitar, you play kind of music, they say, hey, who's your major influence? Who do you play like? I play like nobody, because I play like me, and I play, and that's why I play so well with the same people, because that's kind of where I learned and how I grew up to play. Me playing with other folks that I've never played with before is a lot more challenging for me. But I can play with you and the same, the same group of guys that I've been playing with for, this long time. I can do that pretty easily. I can walk right in and I can just start playing. I know what to anticipate. That's my formative music.
You're talking music chemistry at that point.
Well, I guess it's music
chemistry you get with people you play with a lot.
But a lot of people have influences that they want to play like, and they actually wind up reproducing how that person plays, because that's how they train themselves.
Yeah, you pick up styles.
I learned how to play listening to you guys.
And a hard part of playing music is trying to, pick up enough styles that you can get your own, and be able to move in and out of different styles. And then that's a.
How fascinating is this? Do you know people who play in cover bands?
Yes.
You know people who play primarily in cover bands?
I know. So I know all the different steps of this. I know people who can only play in cover bands, meaning they are unable
to write their own stuff.
Correct.
And they can play the most complicated,
intricate
everything.
Yep.
Know every note on the scale.
But if you ask them to write a song, they will
four chords, they can't put it together.
Well, 4-chord song. We'll have to
I'm just saying they couldn't put four chords together.
Yeah, I got you.
And to make a melody of their own.
Now, I also know people who.
Why do you think that is? Let's stop there. Why do you think that is?
Well, because I think, man, you put me on the spot with this one. I wasn't ready to go down this rabbit hole.
Just generally.
I would say because there are people who. This is so difficult to word without sounding like an asshole.
Just sound like an asshole.
Okay.
I mean, so normal.
Some people. All right, good point. Some people, music is something that you are taught from a young age. Meaning, I think to be a musician and to be able to write songs, it's like being a painter. You could teach someone to paint. Will they create a masterpiece? No. They're going to paint what they have seen, right? And then, so you can get technically good. You can know what this line is supposed to do, and you can make sure you do that line perfectly.
So your argument is talent and skill.
Yes.
And learn behavior versus natural talent.
I think where it comes from.
Yeah.
So if you sit somebody down and you make them play any instrument for 8 hours a day, and you teach them that instrument, they'll become proficient at it.
Is that the same kind of concept as somebody who can basically be a human Xerox, can take a picture and completely draw that picture with no problem? I mean, it looks entirely exactly correct, but can't draw anything of their own.
Exactly. So I'm not saying that they're not skilled at what they do, or maybe even talented at that particular act.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between playing what someone else already wrote or being proficient at an instrument, and that's different than creating something with that instrument that's brand new. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying that there's a difference.
There's a clear difference. And the people that I know that are in that category, that they can play probably a catalog of 1,500, 2,000 songs and have them memorize and sing them. And it's to me, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, and then write a song.
No,
nope, can't do it.
And
no idea.
And then they look at me and they say, hey, you want to come, play with me in this cover band, maybe play bass with me sometime. I'm like, first of all, I don't know 1,500 freaking songs to save my life. That ain't happening. Well, it's not that hard. I'm like, for you, it's not. For me, it is.
Put some music or tab in front of you.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything for me. I am completely by ear. 100% by ear.
Yeah. We'll do it by ear then. Fuck it. Fuck them.
I mean, I could, but I could probably muster my way through it, or muddle my way through it, excuse me. Wrong condiment. But I can muddle my way through it. and do it, but I'm not very good at it, and I don't really
Don't
enjoy
do that when I'm
it.
drinking.
I don't really enjoy it at all either. So it's and they don't understand why I can't. They're like, I've heard you play, like you play well, you can do this, like it's obvious, your instrument well enough.
Different
I'm like,
when you're playing your song or when you're playing someone else's song.
but again, that's the thing is we can say that, and we understand what that is.
Well, I can play a cover song, but I can't.
Do you think you play? Do
1500.
you think you can play cover songs exactly the way they were written in drums?
Oh, if I'm forced into doing so, yeah.
I mean, you pretty much make it all your own, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's always been my experience with drummers.
Which is funny, and I'll be honest,
they always just do it their own way.
Half of that is laziness.
Yeah, right.
And the other half is that a lot of the people that a lot of the cover songs I would like to play, I don't have their skills.
True.
It just comes down to
right.
I'm not knocking myself as a drummer, but I'm just saying that there are.
I'll knock it for you.
But it's fine, yeah. But I'm definitely a realist. Like there are.
I hear you.
Many, many people out there who are way fucking better than I am.
Okay.
And I simply.
Most people won't notice that the drums are different.
I will.
You will because you play drums, but most people won't notice drums.
Oh, thanks for saying so.
Well, they won't know, like, oh man, there should have been a hi-hat fill there, not fill hi-hat like, that was totally wrong. Because as long as you're on the beat
those are
with the
16th
drums,
notes. What is he doing?
As long as you're on the beat with the drums, most anybody won't give a crap what the hell you're doing.
I've always said you can always tell, especially when you're playing a show, and if you're playing in a city and you don't know many people there, and you're showing up to the show and you're playing and you're with other bands, and if at me sitting behind the drum kit when we play our set, I can look out in the crowd and I will tell you every drummer,
which is
from the other four bands,
one who's looking at you,
because they're all staring at me.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to see exactly what I'm doing, and I do it too.
Yeah.
When I go to watch a band,
you're watching the drummer.
99% time watching the drummer, and so we all kind of watch each other. It's weird.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I have caught myself watching the bass players and things like that, but I don't know. I don't know who I gravitate more towards. I don't know. I mean,
I guarantee I'm always drummer.
Yeah, drummer.
Always.
Yeah,
because
I don't think.
And it's not even.
Conscious.
For me, what's that?
It's not conscious.
No, it's conscious for me.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I'm watching them, especially if I like the band, and I'm watching them because I want to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, that was.
And drums
I'm trying to put more tricks in my bag. Like I'm trying to pick up from what they're doing.
I think the average listener to music
doesn't listen to drums at all.
One, you're right. Does
Yeah.
not listen to drums. However, if you were to give them two different examples of a good drummer, a good beat, a good drummer,
or
versus,
me,
or you, and maybe that's somebody that's less less talented, so to speak, and they will know that there's a difference.
Just
They
say
probably won't be able to qualify what that difference is,
But
I think they'll
notice it.
know that
Absolutely.
there's a difference. Drums are one of the most, I think, underappreciated instruments in a band, but it's the most important in my opinion. Even though you can get away without it,
unless you're playing acoustic, yeah.
Right.
But yeah,
there's
a lot of songs. It
and
is
when you play acoustic,
there's
a
the
lot of
driving
beat.
force behind it. It's the timekeeper. It's the whatever. It's
all those
and
things.
I'm waiting for all the jokes right now. Jay, timekeeper. He can't keep time. He's right twice a day.
And that's when I play bass, and you do too in the other band. But I have a similar role of keeping that.
Yeah, your rhythm section. It's rhythm section.
Yeah, it's the rhythm section, but also in guitar. So it's kind of one of them in between things. So when I'm listening, when I'm on stage, my ears are tuned towards what you are playing, and I know when you fuck up because I'm turning around and I'm going,
yep,
damn it.
Yep.
Now I've fucked up because I followed you.
Yeah, Knuckles, when I make a mistake, is the first one I get to look from, and he's like, what the fuck was that?
You want to know how good you played as a drummer? Watch the bass player. He's gonna be the guy that tells you.
And I know to sit in my other band when I'm playing bass. If there's something askew, a little bit off, I'm right at the drummer, like, Bobby, what are you doing? That's not
half the time. I don't even know what the guitar sound is. I don't know what they're supposed to sound like. I mean, but yeah, not all that well.
You're worried about your parts.
Well, my parts, and I hear the drums. I more listen to the drums and the beat than I do much anything else.
So now that we're done boring these people with our take on music,
but my music was formulated by playing with you guys. I think that was the time.
I'm very sorry to hear that, and I apologize.
And the style of music that we did was, of a punk rock nature.
Sure. It was punk rock. It was pop punk.
Punk, yeah. And I love pop punk.
It was Green Day punk back in the day.
Yeah. So it was definitely a heavy influence on me as far as that goes, and it's been hard for me to change that going. I mean, I have had some success moving into the indie music, but if I really want to feel good, if I really want to feel music, not that kind of indie stuff. I mean, I do like some of that too. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I like some indie stuff.
Some's good, but for me, very little. And here's my problem that I find getting older and trying to not get myself as pigeonholed as I am. I do make a strong attempt to listen to new things and try to, grow my catalog of bands I like and things I can get behind and songs I know and genres and all that stuff. And I feel like as I'm getting older, it's getting more difficult to do. And I catch myself blaming the fact that it's all shit.
Well, that's
instead of just saying and admitting, maybe I'm just
out of touch,
becoming that old man saying it's all turning to shit. Get off my lawn.
Well, there was a Canadian study and I'll read a passage here from it. It says,
they're studying up there? I thought they were just busy getting
it's cold,
like molasses
so
and
they
stuff.
Have stuff to do. That's later.
Okay.
Age is a strong age is a strong factor in determining music preference. There is also evidence that that preferences and opinions towards music can change with age. The Canadian study concerning how adolescent music preferences relate to personality, researchers found that adolescents who preferred heavy music demonstrated low self-esteem, higher levels of discomfort within family, and tend to feel rejected by others. So that's the heavy music, right? Like death rock kind of things. Adolescents who preferred light music were preoccupied with doing the proper thing and had difficulty balancing independence with dependence. And adolescents who had an eclectic music preference had less difficulty negotiating adolescence and were flexible using music according to mood and particular needs at the time. So I think that kind of goes with our age. As you get older, you're not going to relate to that music back then because you're not struggling with life in the same way that people that like that style of music are at that time.
Yeah, I'm struggling.
Through adolescence. You're struggling in a different way.
In whole new ways.
Yeah. Whole new ways.
This struggle sucks.
Exactly. So I think that's what drives us. And then it's probably my proclivity towards, more indie rock is that, my struggles have changed and things like that. But if I get down or if I want to feel those feelings, I'll put in my, Chiodos or Circa Survive. Yeah, exactly. Things you have no idea about, right?
I've heard of Circa Survive.
Emo rock, right?
The Cheetos thing you just said, I have no idea what
Cheetos, I like that.
I thought that what you said at first, and I was like, what the fuck? Cheetos?
Yeah, Cheetos.
I'll look it up. If I'm down, I'm rocking out...
you'll hate it.
I'm rocking out some Tony Sly, like the acoustic, that sort of thing.
Nowadays, you mean?
Yeah. Which is funny because it's like, it's still no use for a name. It's just punk rock, but slowed down. It's just acoustic punk rock. That's all it is.
So because your priorities have changed, your age has gotten older.
No, it's only if I'm down.
Oh, is that
it's only on a bad day. Yeah. Generally, I'm rocking out. It's getting again. I'm going to start naming off bands that are like, well, they were relevant back in 1996.
See, and around the age where you were,
I'm rocking out,
building your preferences.
Well, I mean, some of them are still active. I'm still rocking out, Rancid or Operation Ivy or Goldfinger or Street Dogs or, my go-to happy punk rock songs.
I was jamming to some
the Pilfers.
Goldfinger and
Pilfers and all day.
Pilfers, yeah.
They take me to a phenomenal time. Love the Pilfers.
RX Bandits, they are probably one of the bands that I did get influenced by later on in life that did grab me.
Same. And I don't attach them to any emotional spot.
No.
It's just they're fucking awesome. They're just phenomenal musicians. Every one of them.
Yeah, I like their new,
they're great.
Their later stuff more than their ska earlier. Their ska stuff was
great
good.
too.
It was absolutely good, but it's very cookie cutter ska. It's just ska. Like every other ska.
You better calm down over there.
I'm just saying. You know what? They were cutting it out with their black and white cookie cutters and their man buns and shit, but whatever.
Okay, yeah, the man buns, I'll give you that. I got no argument for that. I'm just like, all right, fuck, that was good ammo.
So, yeah, it's interesting. Again, the research that I found definitely correlated with my anecdotal thoughts of what has happened to me, and I wonder you guys, it's done the same to you. Do you feel that your musical choice was kind of solidified in your early teens, pubescent time of life? Do you still kind of go back to that time period? As Jay states, maybe it's a time in life that, things were happy, or, it's something that takes you back to a time, a period.
And I think it's the feeling of the song too, agua, deeper. That Pilfers is just...
Yeah.
That's a powerful fucking song.
A lot of emotion tied there, and a lot of people don't feel emotion at all when they feel music. Especially people with pop music, that it just doesn't resonate to them
because it's not emotional. It's
but I'm saying
boring.
That's their personality type. That's what resonates them because
they're boring.
To you, they're boring.
No,
absolutely.
You just called them boring.
Did I say boring? I don't remember saying the word boring.
You inferred.
I did not
good
infer.
Sir.
I just said that doesn't do it for them.
I said pop music is boring, and you were like, well, that's why boring people listen to it. That's what I heard.
That must have been a ghost. It was the spirit of podcast.
We just jumped to last week.
Yeah, the spirit of podcast past just came and visited Jay and put a little ear ghost spirit into him. But
these songs definitely take you to a place. I will listen to songs sometimes if I want to go back to a time. I will listen to a song to intentionally go back to that time.
Absolutely, yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I definitely feel like we should all try to grow and continue to listen to music.
Well, I tell you what, get on Facebook, email us, tweet us, tell us what music really influenced you and how old you were. Do you agree with this statement? Do you think that your musical influences were pretty solidified in your preteen years?
Are you stuck?
Mid-teens? Are you stuck there?
Should we do a YouTube commercial?
What's that?
Are you stuck in your prepubescent? God, you can't even say it. Are you stuck in your prepubescent music tastes? Why don't you try some whatever, and then have like a product, like the little fake product thing?
Oh, okay, I gotcha. I thought you meant do a commercial for YouTube, promoting YouTube. Like, why would we do that right now? This is kind of a weird turn. I don't know where you're going.
No, should you and I create a...
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
We should do some fake ads. That would be fun too.
Yeah, be a good ad. Like some new drink, you'd be like, well, now you like this kind of music, and you'll be hip just like the new kids. Tired of being stuck in the same old music genre?
Yeah, right. Yes, that's true.
And then just like show some guy like all, punked or scot out, and then poof, he's like in a man bun, and he's got the beads on everywhere, and he's like...
The sad thing is we can just get some of our friends. They all kind of fit in some of those models.
Right. I was great in too, and I was stuck too until I tried new musicos.
Musicos.
And now I listen to, whatever.
Shit. Hey, you know what? Share with us your experience. Arguablycorrectpodcast at gmail.com or on Facebook, or you can tweet us at
arguablyc. I've learned so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you think, and share your musical thoughts with us.
Yeah, or some videos, some links would be great. New music would be awesome.
Yeah, we love new music. We're trying to buck the statistical norm here. We want to invert the bell curve.
But no country, please. Thanks.
Country for me all day. I'll listen.
As always, thanks for listening.